The outside of the prison is quite ugly and decrepit, but the meaning of it is beautiful. The rose bush outside is one of the most meaningful bits of beauty in Massachusetts. It shows that even in the darkest of places, there's always a little beauty that can be sought out. Hester has just emerged from the prison holding her baby. Everyone is staring at her, and the women in the crowd judge her. They think she's crazy because she has embroidered the letter A on her chest. They wonder why anyone would behave like she has in the past. Hester looks out into the crowd and sees a strange man. She stares at him intently. She realizes this is her ugly husband. She squeezes the baby, and it cries annoyingly while she stands on the scaffold. Wah. Boo-hoo. While standing upon the scaffold, Hester recognizes her husband in the crowd amongst the angry townspeople. He sent her to America and failed to fulfill his promise to follow her there. Now he sees her standing in front of the people holding a child, which is obviously not his. Hester's husband puts a finger to his lips, asking her not to reveal his identity, which he changes to Roger Chillingworth. He asks a stranger in the crowd what is going on, telling him how he had been held captive by Native Americans and just arrived.
Who is this lady? What is her punishment?
Curious, Roger also wants to know who the father of the baby is.
Who's the father of the baby?
The stranger explains that because she refused to tell who the other sinner is, she has been sentenced to her current punishment. 3 hours of standing on the scaffold and a lifetime of wearing the scarlet letter A. Next we meet Reverend Arthur Dimsdale, who demands Hester reveal the other sinner and the child's father.
Well done.
Do not protect this child's father out of guilt, pity, or tenderness.
Shut up.
Do not take the fall in entirety for this crime. Tell the truth. Bring him forward.
My child shall seek out a heavenly Father and never know a mortal one.
Hester now receives her scarlet letter and returns back to prison.
Give this to the baby, it'll make it feel better. Why would you think I'd want to hurt this child? Gee.
Hester refuses to take the medicine again, so Chillingworth gives the baby the medicine himself, and she stops crying instantly. Chillingworth then mixes another vial of medicine.
This is an old Indian recipe. It won't erase your mistakes, but it'll make you feel better.
Chillingworth gives Hester the medicine, and she looks at him with a confused look.
I've thought about death, so if you're trying to poison me, I don't really care.
Drink it, it's not poison. If I poisoned you, you wouldn't be around to suffer through your shame, and I wouldn't be able to get my revenge.
Hester drinks the medicine and trembles as Chillingworth sits beside her.
Esther, this is all my fault. I made a mistake in marrying and sending you here. What business did I, an ugly old man, have with you, a beautiful young woman?
I never loved you in the first place.
I know, it's my fault. Ever since I married you, I felt more lonely than I did in the first place. I made a mistake.
You're my husband, and I've wronged you.
We both made mistakes. I tricked you into marrying me. You and I are even, but the father of your child has wronged us both. Who is he?
Don't ask, because I'm not going to tell you.
I'll find out eventually. You might not wear a mark of shame, but I will find out because I'm the physician of this town.
Oh, you won't do anything.
My wife, you've kept your lover's secret. You will keep mine too. Don't tell a single soul that I'm your husband.
Why would you want that?
Because I don't want to be known as the husband of an adulterer.
I guess I can keep your secret.
I'll leave you alone with your child and your mark of shame.
Why does this make you so happy? Are you the devil? Are you going to take your revenge out on me? What are you going to do?
Trust me, Hester, it won't be you that's going to pay for this.
Although Hester had the chance to flee, to escape her punishment, she decided to stay. She believed that staying and accepting her punishment would make her a stronger woman. She made money by sewing objects for people around town, but she was not allowed to sew important objects, including wedding dresses and anything related to religion. Hester often spent her days in her home by herself, just reflecting on her life. She led a semi-successful life, and she didn't let much bother her. Her punishment was just another part of life, and she didn't try to run away from it. And now we may finally get to Pearl. Pearl, the consequence of Hester's sin, but named so because her mother saw her as her only treasure. Where others would find guilt and sorrow, Hester was able to love the child. She took pride in her beautiful daughter and dressed her the way she wanted to. However, Hester had trouble controlling little Pearl. Maybe it was simply because she was in her terrible twos, but something seemed very different about the girl. She never really liked any of the other children, but who could blame her? Her unfortunate situation didn't exactly make her any friends, so she had to resort to fighting just to hold her own. Sometimes Pearl seemed less like a child and more like a demon. Hester wondered whether the girl was possessed. She was oddly drawn to the scarlet letter on her mother's chest. Hester suspected that it wasn't just because of its beauty, but that Pearl had some sort of evil buried deep inside of her. Every once in a while, Pearl became too much for her mother to handle. One day, poor Hester snapped.
What are you, Pearl?
What do you mean, Mommy? I'm your little girl.
Are you really? Are you even a little girl? Who's your father?
I don't have a daddy, Mommy, remember?
God's your father.
No, he isn't. You told me I don't have a dad, unless you weren't telling the truth. Come on, Mommy, who is my daddy?
Hester could not stand to tell her little girl who her partner in sin was. She was too young to understand anyway. She was fearful, however, that perhaps Pearl wasn't telling childish lies, but that God truly wasn't her father.